Popcorn Junkies, welcome to this review of Bugonia, or Bugonia, not Begonia, Bugonia. This is the new film from Yorgos Lanthimos. Last film was Kinds of Kindness. It was kind of not very good for me. Film before that was Poor Things, loved it. He's done things like The Favourite, The Lobster, Dogtooth, that's right. He's made all sorts of sacred killing of a sacred deer. Anyway, this is his latest film. It's his latest film, and it's his latest team up, if you like, with the duo, the acting duo, Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons, who both starred in Kinds of Kindness. He's worked with Emma Stone across many films now, since The Favourite, Poor Things, etc., etc., etc. So quite a unique kind of relationship. She's obviously his muse. Now, if you don't know Yorgos Lanthimos, he's a surrealist filmmaker. It's the best way to kind of get a grab on him. He tells stories, but they are magic realist. They're bizarre. They're weird. They're surreal. They kind of are avant-garde. They're kind of slightly punky. Jesse Plemons, obviously, he's a great actor. I think one of the things I've loved him most in was Fargo, the series in which he was in Fargo. He had a sort of a scene stealing or film stealing or crowd stealing, everything stealing scene in Civil War. He kind of made that film and gave it an anchor that was truly petrifying. He has the capacity and the ability to be crazy, mad, deeply disturbed, and sort of full of pathos too at the same time. So it's very much Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons' film. But alongside them is Aidan Delbis, himself he's an autistic actor. He is very outward about the fact that he's autistic, and he plays an autistic character, which I think is an unusual. It's very rare to get a sort of autistic character played by an autistic actor. For me, this film comes along, it's not coincidental that this film comes along in the same year or thereabouts as films such as Eddington, One Battle After Another. This is what I would call another one of those kind of paranoiac American paranoiac films, where really, what is reality? What is fake news? What is real news? What kind of a world are we living in? Are the edges of our reality beginning to be peeled back in such a way where we question the authenticity of absolutely everything? When a genocide happens and we see it, we're told it hasn't happened, and all the sorts. What is real? What is real? We're in a kind of post-truth, Trumpian kind of world, and this film, I think, sits alongside those. It's very different, but it sits within, I would say, this new kind of emerging genre almost of paranoiac post-truth thrillers. When I say surreal, he does surreal, Yorgos Lanthimos. He also is absurdist. He's an absurdist filmmaker. He doesn't mind kind of just, some things don't often connect. Sometimes it's the kind of unconscious, the subconscious, the no conscious. I loved Poor Things and I hated Kinds of Kindness. So I went into this film slightly trepidatious, slightly concerned, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to know in the first 10 to 15 minutes, is this like Kinds of Kindness, like full of weirdness for the sake of weirdness, but none of it really holding together? Or is it going to be more like Poor Things, fucking weird, but threaded into it all sorts of interesting thematics? Now, the trailer I thought looked sensational. You could clearly deduce from the trailer that this is a film about conspiracy theories. Again, something else that's in Eddington. It's kind of something that's in kind of One Battle After Another too. This kind of strange idea that something else, there's another narrative. Jesse Plemons plays Teddy, who's a conspiracy theorist gone mad, and basically his kind of right-hand man is Don, this autistic cousin, in inverted commas. It's kind of revealed to us in a very odd kind of black and white flashback moment a little bit later in the film that Teddy, Jesse Plemons' mum, has kind of got ill due to something to do with the corporation that Emma Stone is the CEO of, and they've had to use all these kind of weird kind of medications to kind of keep her alive and all that kind of stuff. Very surreal, very strange, very, very bizarre. But Emma Stone is the CEO. She's Michelle. She's the CEO of a pharmaceutical corporation. And really, I think this film is about where we're at in modern life. Of all the films that Yorgos Lanthimos has done or made, I would say that this is the most sort of directly attributable or kind of taps into the cultural politics of where we are right now. And as you get towards the end of this film, it even plugs into some of the kind of preoccupations, fears, thematics, thoughts, existential, scientific, possible ramifications of something even like Three-Eye Atlas, the interstellar object. Even that becomes relevant in a weirdly kind of, I hope not prophetic sort of way, or sort of almost Does this film know something that we don't? I kind of came out of this film at the end of it almost feeling like I'd taken drugs. It was like, have I just seen a vision of the future? But more on that in a minute. So really we sit with Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons has got the bit between his teeth. He's kind of grooming his autistic cousin into, you know, kind of agreeing with him about this idea that he believes that there are these strange Andromedan kind of aliens that are kind of out in space, and they're here on Earth, and they've infected certain humans. I think Andromedans, I think there is genuinely a theory that there are lizard people, and people have already been taken by aliens, and that some people are hybrids. I think even Candace Owens was talking about Elon Musk being potentially a hybrid and all this kind of stuff. So don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of people who actually think that's the case. I don't yet. I mean, I'm not willing to, but I think I need a little bit more proof than just hearsay. And so this taps into that kind of conspiracy theory. You know, him and his autistic cousin, they're kind of, you know, they're trying to get fit badly. They're very dirty. They live in a very sort of shambolic kind of hut or kind of cabin, if you like, at the end of a kind of valley. He cycles to work, Jesse Plemons, and works within the organisation of which Emma Stone is the CEO. We intercut their sort of slightly dirty, grimy, poor Hicksville. It's a bit Hicksville. Kind of attempts to kind of get fit and sort of almost train up and get to a place where they can kidnap Emma Stone's character, because they believe, or Jesse Plemons believes, that she is possessed by an Andromedan and she is an alien, and they need to capture her. They need to coat her in, not iodine, what's it like, antihistamine. They need to shave her hair off. They need to kidnap her, and basically she needs to message the aliens and tell them to lay off the planet and stop kind of hurting the planet. Now all of this is kind of, the whole film is kind of bookended with some beautiful, beautiful footage, which was in the trailer again, of bees, and the bees are dying because of CCD, and, you know, part of the problem is the company that Emma Stone runs. So it's totally plugged into conspiracy theory central, this whole kind of film. And so for Jesse Plemons, that's one of the key crimes that, in a sense, Emma Stone and the Andromedans have done, is they're killing the honeybees. Now, just to pause just for a moment, the term Bugonia is it's a fascinating concept. Let me read to you. It comes from the Greek Bugonia, comes from bu, meaning ox, gon, meaning progeny. So Greek essentially means ox-born bees, bees that are born in the carcass of an ox. And it's the idea that these bees are born from the blood. They kind of come from the blood of a dead beast. So it's a kind of Greek mythological concept that out of death, you can literally create life, but not just life, you create bee life out of a corpse, out of a cadaver. And so, as I say, we kind of get to know Jesse Plemons. He's very good. I mean, let's just talk about Jesse for a moment as Teddy. He's incredibly compelling. He's incredibly obsessive. He's persistent. He's doing all of his research. He encourages Don to kind of take an injection that basically is a kind of medically induced castration. Don, his autistic cousin, is a brilliant, the actor, what's his name, Aidan Delbis. Fantastic, forever kind of not quite certain, not quite convinced, cautious, questioning, but at the same time wants to go along because he feels a sense of belonging, and he feels that kind of codependency with Jesse Plemons' character. You know, the kind of, I was getting Of Mice and Men vibes, certainly from Aidan Delbis' performance as the autistic cousin. He was very sort of, you know, he was the vulnerable one, but at the same time, in that vulnerability and in his questions was an authenticity and a truth. And not surprisingly, as the film moves along, you know, in a weird way, he becomes the focal point for how Jesse Plemons' world, in a sense, implodes and falls apart. But in the process of Jesse kind of researching, kind of pulling together these ideas about what Emma Stone must be and how she's an alien, I thought there was a really neat sequence at the beginning that was also in the trailer, where you see Emma Stone going through her sort of daily regimen, her breakfast, her kind of VO2 max kind of mask while she's running on a running machine. And when you started to look at it, I started to look at it in a sort of kind of, well, imagine if she was an alien, and you're thinking, this is pretty odd alien-y kind of stuff, actually. There's a really bungled hostage-taking moment, which I thought was great because it was kind of resolutely undramatic. It reminded me, actually, interestingly, very much of Parasite. This is based on, actually, a film or a book called Save the Green Planet, which I think is a South Korean story. And there were moments in Emma Stone's sort of home which were very Parasite-like. You see her get kidnapped, you see her get bundled into the kind of flower bed, and then she's taken off. And then really the rest of the film isn't much more other than Emma Stone in captivity, trying to rationalise and linguistically, verbally and emotionally get a wrap around and work around what's going on with Jesse Plemons. She's trying to escape, she's trying to work out, and he's forever kind of parrying us. There's a lot of wordplay. There's a lot of kind of really deep and intense performances where Jesse Plemons, you know, you're drawn into thinking, Jesse Plemons, he's deluded. He's got these kind of weird conspiracy theorist ideas. He's mad. And this film is a really good film for kind of throwing a spotlight over the idea that, yes, you could be a mad conspiracy theorist, but by the end of the film, you're left thinking, hang on a minute, but maybe conspiracy theorists, maybe we characterize them as mad so that the truth doesn't come out. And we've talked about that a lot on the channel elsewhere. In this kind of hostage taking, there are scenes of torture. He attaches her to electrodes and runs strong electric currents through her. She manages to tolerate such high electricity that the entire fucking cabin blows. And in a weird way, what Jesse Plemons begins to discern is that perhaps Emma Stone is not only an Andromedan, but maybe she's even an Andromedan fucking royalty. Is she kind of a queen? Is she a princess? Is she the top fucking dog in space? And so, you know, you've got the lunacy of this going on. But I have to say, a snagging thought crept into me right at the beginning of this film. And it actually crept into me whilst watching the trailer. And the question is this: is this a double bluff? Has Jesse Plemons actually inadvertently stumbled across the truth here? And I think what's so neat and what's so clever and what I like about this film is, and this is a spoiler review, so please turn off if you don't want to have it all spoiled for you. This whole film pivots round. And so by the film's end, you realise you want to watch it all again, because you retrospectively realise that by the end of the film, once you've had the reveal of Emma Stone's true nature, you're left thinking, oh fucking hell, maybe he was correct. He was right. He was right about so many things. And so in a weird way, this really is a film for our times, which says, yes, be careful. You can dismiss and characterise as mad fucking individuals, conspiracy theorists. But what if, baked in what they think and what they're feeling, there is some kind of truth? And so it kind of rattles the cage of kind of reality and what's truth and what's not truth. And what I like about this film is it doesn't take a position on it. It doesn't characterise. I mean, Jesse Plemons is mad and unhinged, and his kind of kidnapping of Emma Stone tips into a sort of misogyny, a kind of gender-specific kind of attack. You know, he starts to humiliate her and hurt her and what have you. It's very bloody. It gets very violent. There's an incredibly arresting and shocking moment with Don, played by Aidan Delbis, where there's a kind of crunch moment where you think, oh my God, what's he going to do? And again, it's all so of mice and men in a weird sort of strange way. Then you've got all these kind of weird flashbacks, really quite creepy flashbacks to Jesse Plemons with his mum lying in a bath with loads of kind of syringes sticking into her, but they're all floating above her, and then she's floating like a balloon. And again, that surrealism and absurdism in this context, not Kinds of Kindness, in this context, added a certain kind of creepy horror to this. This was much more of a kind of intellectual horror film, I found. This has a real absurdism about it. You know, you've got scenes where a young Jesse Plemons is holding his mum aloft and she's sort of floating in the sky at the end of a balloon, and you're sort of thinking, wow, that's really weird. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, most of this film really is two stellar acting performances going head to head. Jesse Plemons trying to get underneath the skin, quite literally, and into the brain of Emma Stone, the alleged Andromeda, lizard-like alien woman. And then it's Emma Stone trying to kind of get behind the doubts, trying to tickle at the certainties in Jesse Plemons' head, and she's trying to also seek and take advantage of the doubts of Don, his autistic cousin, who forever and a day throughout this is uncomfortable, is discomforted by the whole thing. You've got this odd, curious extra character who's a policeman, which is revealed to us that clearly this police officer who knows Jesse Plemons, knows Teddy, keeps apologising to him for what he did to him when he babysat for Teddy when he was younger. And, you know, Jesse Plemons is like, no, it's fine, it's okay. And you're like, that's so Yorgos Lanthimos. So it's just threaded in. It's not even judged. It's not even commented on. Clearly, this police officer has abused Teddy when he was a kid. And it just it just sits there. I mean, it's not funny, but it is kind of absurdist. I mean, that's the very nature of absurdism. And then the film just builds to this incredibly grisly, bloody, quite stressful, quite stylish kind of denouement. Emma Stone escapes. They then both go to her work. He says she insists to him that she can use this calculator to actually help teleport them out to the world. So we're left thinking that she's humouring him. She's stringing him along. She's kind of leading him astray, making him think she is an alien. And he goes into the cupboard, he's got a bomb on himself, and he accidentally blows up and his head comes off. And essentially it all turns out that fucking Emma Stone is an alien. I really like this film. And one of the most amazing moments is the final sequence where she goes off to space. There's discussion between her and the other kind of aliens in this interstellar object type thing, fucking hell. Sort of saying, well, it was a tried experiment, humanity and Earth, and look, it all just went terribly wrong. And then she kind of just does something. I think she punctures like a sort of, it's like a globe of the Earth, and then the oxygen goes up. Basically, she kills everyone on Earth. And we have this very long, and it's brilliantly long, I like it, sequence, montage of countless dead humans in countless different setups and situations. Some were having sex, some were working in an Amazon packing factory, people on a beach, just everywhere you go, loads and loads of dead people, all of them dead. But around them, the wildlife is carrying on. So cats are still alive, animals are still alive, dogs are still alive. The world keeps going. And so going back to this Bugonia idea of new life coming out of death, I think again what this film is about is, are we heading in society towards some cataclysmic end, even if it's not a literal physical end, but maybe it is because of 3I Atlas, the interstellar object, or a virus, or just civil war, or whatever. But even if it's not a literal physical life end, maybe it's an existential spiritual end that we're all heading to, and this film really taps into that and literally takes us to the end of days where all humans are dead, and one is left thinking and assuming that perhaps something new will come out of the death out of these carcasses, out of dead humans, out of the death of society. And that's the Bugonia. And then again we cut to shots of the bees, and the bees are flying. And it does speak to that idea of, I can't remember who it was who said it recently, that maybe we're undeserving of this planet. Maybe this planet needs to be rid of us. Maybe we need to be got rid of, and maybe we've made such a spectacular mess of it. Our morals are fucked, our sense of self, our sense of honour and ownership of the planet has contorted into just exploiting it and exploiting each other. So this film, actually, of all of Yorgos Lanthimos' films, becomes quite an interesting piece for our times, rather than just a curiosity on the shelf. Oh, it's another weird Yorgos Lanthimos film, which is weird in and of itself, a bit fun to watch, like Poor Things. But what's it actually saying about anything? I found this film really fascinating. I found the fact that the conspiracy theorist ended up being right, the fact that the alien, in the form of Emma Stone, was an alien, and actually she kind of leaves the planet and is fed up, and she was trying to take Teddy, Jesse Plemons, as possibly one of the people to rescue from the planet. I love that. He might have been the Earth's savior. You just don't realize. Brilliantly performed, brilliantly acted, beautifully shot. Some really creepy, absurdist, stylistic, gorgeous to look at moments in terms of like these weird flashbacks to his mother. A really stressful and tense scene where Emma Stone convinces him that she's got the cure for his mum who's in hospital, and he rushes off with this bottle from her car thinking it's the cure, but it's actually fucking antifreeze from her vehicle, and so he pours it into her her drip, the drip of his mother, and you sit and you wait for her to die. And Jesse Plemons is fucking sensational in this. If Emma Stone deserved to win, and she's great in it too, but if she deserved to win for Poor Things, an Oscar, he definitely deserves a nomination. It's a really intense, really sweaty, really grimy, really grisly kind of portrait of obsession and existential angst, and searching for meaning and searching for belonging, and inadvertently in that search hitting upon the truth, but not realising you've hit upon the truth, because Jesse Plemons doesn't realise he's hit upon the truth because his head's come off by the time it's all proven true. What a shame. He could have found out that he was actually right. Curious details. I mean, it's one of those few films that I came straight out of the cinema and I thought, oh my God, I want to see it again, because I want to see all of the kind of clues further in it. He shaves her hair off because apparently it means she can communicate with her mothership. He covers her in this antihistamine cream I think for some kind of, so she doesn't signal. He was right. All these things are true. So in some of his research, he's got it right. So she's kind of admiring Emma Stone, the kind of CEO alien, is quite admiring of his nous. He's discovered her. I mean, she's got to respect him because he actually found her, but he just inadvertently ended up blowing his own head off, which was a bit silly. All that said and done, I found this an incredibly stimulating watch. I was on the edge of my seat. I was anxious at times. There were genuine shocking moments. There were weird threaded moments like the, abusive kind of police officer who's really quite nice and kind of very chatty. And you're just like, this is weird. It felt different. It felt odd, but it also felt of the now. And it felt like it was speaking to a certain chaos that we're all going through in the real world. I would highly recommend this film. It's sumptuous to look at. It's visually so stimulating. It's like Poor Things. It's just like, wow, 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 wow. Please see this film at the cinema. And if I was to score this, I would go out there and give this a stonking 100 out of 100. It was a return to form. Kinds of Kindness was a weird moment. And this, for me, I thought was suitably weird, mad, but also entirely plausible. I mean, what if on that fucking 3i Atlas there's Emma Stone as a CEO? I mean, I came out of the cinema at the end when everyone was dead and you had this montage and there she's flying off into space and she's talking alien language and you're thinking, well, this shouldn't work, but it did, because in a weird way maybe that's what's hovering over us now. Who knows? Check it out. Well worth the price of the cinema ticket.